Hey guys, it's the Fundy AU here. This is a little series that I'm starting off just to deal with a couple of my thoughts on Bitcoin, just to put them out there. So I'll be doing a couple of conversations with a couple of my friends and just going from there. If it takes off, it takes off. If it doesn't, well, haven't lost anything, have I? Alrighty, cool. So I'm not a trader. I'm not a programmer. I'm not any of that. I'm a Bitcoin user. I am the end user. I am the person who wants to carry a bank in my pocket when on holiday in South Africa. Alrighty, cool. So let's go on with it. I've prepared a little bit of a talk, and we'll just go from there. Specifically, right now, I'm wanting to cover the Bitcoin ETF and the Winklevoss twins and how everything just ties into it there. These are just my thoughts on what I've searched. Oh, these are just thoughts, not just my thoughts. It's also a summary of what I've searched. A lot of it comes off Wikipedia and things like that. So it's just a collaboration of that rather than anything else. I don't mean to offend anyone. I'm just putting it out there. Alrighty, cool. So the ETF was started to be worked on by the Winklevoss twins in early 2013. March 2013, if I recall correctly. My brain's everywhere tonight. Sorry, it's late. Been up in a while. Alrighty. So ETF is an exchange-traded fund. These are usually used for commodities such as oil or gold or things like that. And they're traded in much the same way you trade stocks such as Facebook, Google, Woolworths, or even like Caltex and Chevron. Now, the implications that I want to bring up of using an ETF is it's a long-term lockup of the Bitcoin. These are not going to be available for use in day-to-day transactions, which is why we have Bitcoin. It's there to be used, and if we're not using it, then it's stagnant. We're taking away the use of the use case. Obviously, by doing that, we're also reducing that original 21 million Bitcoin to being less than that, which should push up the price, but it's there to be used if you're not using it. Anyway, going around in circles. So the Winklevoss twins, they're twins, 35-year-olds. I'm not sure what their real money value is. Actually, I just Googled it. Their net worth is 65 million based on a straight Google search. Their settlement relating to what is now ConnectU, which was originally Harvard Connections in 2004, 65 million US dollars, which is the settlement value with Zuckerberg after the whole Facebook scenario. These guys are now operating as venture capitalists. They operate a website called winklevosscapital.com. Going through the list of things, they've got a whole stack of different things there. They've sold 4 or 5 of them. On the site, it says sold to or bought by, or acquired by. So that's the nice term. As far as Bitcoin goes, they've actually had a passive investment there. If we take their 2013 involvement, actually, we'll come back to that. In 2013, they said they had a passive investment in BitInstant, which in 2014, the CEO, these guys put 1.5 million into seed funding of this company. The CEO was arrested and charged with money laundering relating to Silk Road. and obviously that's not a good place to be coming from. They were cleared from it because of that passive investment thing. In October 2015, they opened Gemini, which is a exchange operated out of New York, and it's been approved and all that through the New York Department of Financial Services. This does make it very legal. It means that everything on there is total KYC, know your customer. Not sure what impacts this will have on the end user, but if someone suddenly finds that they're paying tax for something they didn't know they have, it might be because they lost their passwords or something like that. Also, an exchanges are notoriously known, as with the Mt. Gox incident, for having collapsed, with someone having found that honeypot, that secret place where all the keys are kept. They also run Zappo, which is, I think it's operated out of Switzerland, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so there's Zappo, which is very similar to Coinbase. They have a credit card, you can find them, all that sort of thing. So let's talk about their known profits. What have they actually gained? In March 2014, they purchased seats on Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic shuttle. This was the early implementation stage, and seats at the time were going for between 2.5 thousand and 10,000. In April 2013, they stated they own nearly 1% of all Bitcoin in existence. According to blockchain.info market cap, at that time, it was about 10 million. The market cap was $1 billion, which equates to having owned about $10 million. So that was just under a sixth of what they got from the settlement with Zuckerberg earlier. Now, by comparison, this has increased to being 60 million now, taking the lowest possible of the spikes that Bitcoin goes through, and accounting for an increase by 25% of the Bitcoin, assuming a whole cycle period, as in we went from, this was right at the end of the 50 Bitcoin block, which was roughly when they would have purchased, and now we're in the 12.5, so there's a 25, assuming that whole period there. So that means that they have they've gained 60 million. That's what they got from the settlement, 5 million difference. And by now, obviously, yeah, I know, it's just nuts. So yeah, they've spent 10 million of that 60 million. So they really, by saying, they've bought themselves a shuttle ride, with that, there's a lot more to it than that. Anyway, so their history, they've hit big with Bitcoin, but their previous ventures have either been stolen, whether or not these are stolen or not, I haven't read the transcripts from the court cases. I'm not getting involved in that. So yeah, let's move on to short-term versus long-term. Short-term, we can see an immediate price rise as people buy up Bitcoin, and it gets moved into this ETF. Now, what we could then see is something very similar to that peak and drop that we see whenever a new altcoin is introduced on something like Winklevoss or something like that. Everyone wants, and now people are no longer interested. It might stabilize it a bit, of course, on the flip side, we might see that we lock up all of this Bitcoin in the ETF and nobody actually wants it because of its legal status. Obviously, if it does get approved, we are saying that it does have a legal status similar to that of gold and silver and all that jazz. So we'll see. Anyway, what we might also find is a trade price above the spot price, which is what we see in precious metals and the like. You can go online and buy it, or you can get minted gold or minted silver and buy it at a higher price. If you want to be able to use your Bitcoin, you're not going to want it locked up. What is wrong with people if they've got an interest in wanting to buy it? And obviously, we're making it slightly easier. Get a hardware wallet, buy your Bitcoin, transfer it onto that, and there is your ETF in your hand. I have one. Obviously, I hunt the card out. Anyway, so there are two possible outcomes that I can see as a result of this ETF. There's one. Okay, there's some chance it could go somewhere in between here, but I think it will really go one way or the other. And this is where SegWit kind of comes in as well. From me. So one is a gold-like commodity, where it's a long-term store of wealth. It's attractive to businesses. It's high transaction fees because really you want to hold it and you want to keep it. Yeah, so really we've just eliminated all the things which we originally wanted Bitcoin to be. And if you listen to people like Andreas Antonopoulos, it's the internet of money. It's the money of the internet, sorry. Yeah. So the other option is then a day-to-day trading commodity. It is your money. We want a high circulation. We want Bitcoin jumping between person to person all the time. We therefore want really low transaction fees. And we need to develop past the current issues with the block size. Currently, we can do about 7 transactions per second over, that obviously varies on the block time and all that. But 7 transactions per second on Bitcoin, 28 per second on Litecoin, as opposed to Visa's 24,000 transactions per second. Really, that's less than optimal. This will then impact the smaller individual, the unbanked, which is, what Tone Bayes keeps saying is, it's a bank in your pocket. I don't know who quotes me there. That's all it was. Anyway, so really we've got this way up. Do we want it to be something which we hold as much as we can, we push the price up, or do we want it something which we can trade really easily at a really low fee? If we're holding it and we're going this ETF method, we probably don't need segregated witness because, if we're buying $10,000 at a time or whatever, a transaction fee of 27 cents isn't a biggie. While on the flip side, if we want to transfer it, I want to buy a $5 coffee, 25 cents then becomes a big deal. Or if I want to spend something online and 3D printing, I want a $1 extrude nozzle. I don't want to pay 25 cents for a $1 item. Yeah. So what we might find is this dual reality where, I can't remember what his name was, the guy who originally created the Litecoin system. We might find Litecoin does become the day-to-day use tool, and Bitcoin becomes the long-term stable. I've said Litecoin, but it could be any other altcoin. Litecoin because it's probably the next trusted, and it's held its value up. It's held its value in the top 10 or top 20 cryptocurrencies since it was created way back when, while other things like Namecoin and all that dropped off the perch. On the flip side, we might see something where everything's on top of the blockchain, which really does pull us back to the Lightning Network. but I don't know if that's realistic, because once people start loading up a huge amount of investment into it, miners are even, not miners, but the nodes of the pools are less likely to move onto your tech. So yeah, we shall see. I'll kind of just leave you there and just let your thoughts simmer there. I might have a conversation about this with Harrison Lazy later on, and we'll pop that up as well. Yeah, just a couple of little things to be aware of. We'll shout out to Adam Meister, who said, you know, come on, put your videos up there. Here's my contribution. And yeah, crypto, you do some great work as well. Anyway, have fun, guys. Hope there was something useful in here somewhere. I haven't had my face on screen, so I don't know what I've been doing or where I've been looking at. Probably looking there. But yeah, anyway, have fun.